Hi everybody, it's Dr. Barby here. We are doing our video series on the 10 intuitive eating principles. They were first described by Evelyn Tribole and Elise Resch. Their book, if you want to read more about the principles in detail, will be in the link. You don't have to buy it from Amazon. That's where the link is from, so you can see what the book is. Now, we were talking last time about the fourth principle of intuitive eating, which is to challenge the food police. And at this point, we've already rejected the diet mentality. We are honoring our hunger. We've made some peace with food, and we're challenged the food police. Now comes the part where we start thinking about our satisfaction and our fullness. So the fifth principle of intuitive eating is to discover the satisfaction factor. What that means is that we're going to start thinking about, am I satisfied with this meal? Do I feel okay with what I just ate? Do I need anything else? Did I eat too much? Did I eat too little in terms of the satisfaction itself, not the fullness? So this is different. The fullness comes later. In terms of the satisfaction factor, usually it's more about, did I feel adequately nurtured with this meal? Sometimes what can happen is we can have some mindful eating going into this principle, because if we're eating when we're watching TV, on our phone, listening to music, even having conversations that are very emotional, we don't really pay attention very much to what we're eating and how much or how fast. And so usually to eat a meal, it should take about 5 to 10 minutes to actually eat. And that's if you are average speed eater. If you're a slow eater, it might take you a little bit longer. But what it means is that if it means that you're turning off the TV, you're not talking to anyone, you're not on your phone for 10 minutes, that's all it takes. So you can truly focus on your food that's in front of you. I want you to think about how it looks, how the food looks, maybe even smell it. See if you like the aroma, if it's enticing. Look at the different colors in your plate. Pay attention to the different textures that you see. And then when you do start eating, I want you to think about the taste, the flavor. Hold the food in your mouth for a few seconds before you start chewing it so that you can taste the food. What does it taste like? Do you like the texture? Do you enjoy it? Do you not enjoy it? This intuitive eating principle to discover your satisfaction factor will help you in multiple ways. Number one is you'll actually start enjoying your meals a little bit more. Number two, you'll choose foods that you enjoy. And number three, you might realize that there were foods that you were binging on when you were dieting and you were having your cheat meals or your binge days because you couldn't take the diet anymore. You might discover that some of these foods that you thought you liked, you actually don't like very much. For me personally, I remember trying a brownie that I used to not eat for a certain number of hours so I could have this brownie, so that I earned the brownie. And I remember after I started intuitively eating and honoring my hunger and making peace with my food, challenging the food police, I went to get this brownie. I had eaten that day. I had breakfast, I had lunch, and the brownie was actually a snack in the afternoon. I tasted it, and it was so sweet. And I could taste the sugar granules in the brownie. And I didn't like the texture. I didn't like the taste. And I stopped eating it. That is the first time in my life that I stopped eating a brownie. It was amazing. That was the moment where I was like, I guess this is where principle number 5 comes into play to discover the satisfaction factor. Because I was eating that and I didn't enjoy it. So I realized it was not going to satisfy me at all. Even if I ate the rest of it, I really didn't want to because it was not satisfying to me. It did not taste well and I did not like the texture. And so I stopped eating it. I closed the box back up and that was it. And it was truly amazing. That's when I started realizing, man, this intuitive eating thing is onto something. It's very different than what I had previously experienced with chronic dieting and eating disorder history. And so that's when things started clicking for me in terms of intuitive eating, was principle number 5, with discovering the satisfaction factor. And it was that day in specific that I realized I could do this for longer. Initially, I started intuitively eating to try it out for 2 days. And I loved the freedom that I felt, even on those 2 days. Eventually, those 2 days became 4 days, became 6 days, became a week, became a month, became a year, etc. And when I had this brownie and I did not find it satisfying, and I stopped eating it after the first couple of bites, because I did try a second bite to see if it was just me, if I was going crazy, or if it was the brownie. Once I was able to do that and stop eating food that's formerly a binge food or forbidden food, I was like, this truly works. This can work for me. And I should say that it took me 8 years to try intuitive eating from the time it was introduced to me. So it did take me a while to accept, to reject the diet mentality, because I was very scared that I was going to gain a lot of weight. I was very scared that I was not going to be able to control myself around certain foods. And that was really because I was just hungry and deprived and restricted. When I was able to reject this brownie, it was an aha moment. It was a eureka moment. It was a click in my brain that intuitive eating is exactly what I needed, and that it would work for me, and that I didn't need to diet anymore or restrict or have cheat meals or anything like that. That my body and my brain would tell me when I wanted something and when I didn't want something. And so principle number 5 is to discover the satisfaction factor. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you have a great day.